What's going on YouTube? Welcome to my channel Money Moves with Kay. I'm Kay, and today we're going to talk about how to house hack, that is. How to house hack while in the military. My husband and I have done it and continue to do it. So without further ado, let's get it started. All right, so the first thing you want to do or make sure of is that you're organized, right? So you want to have all your LES statements, your W-2 statements, bank statements, everything that the bank would ask for any other loan, they're going to ask for with the VA loan as well. So you want to make sure you're organized. That's very first. Before we even talk about the strategy within itself, you need to be organized because they will ask for it and ask for it very frequently, okay? The second thing within that step you need to make sure of is that your credit score is pretty good. They say about 620 is legit or good enough to get a VA loan, but I would suggest that you keep it at 680 or above, just because at 680 or above, that means that your interest rates will be a lot lower, and also that will impact your mortgage payments every single month. And your mortgage payments every single month come in handy later on down in my steps, because you want to make sure your mortgage payments are as low as possible so that the money in your pocket is as much as possible when you're renting it out to someone else, okay? And the third step within that step, if that makes sense, is that you want to make sure that you have money. So a lot of times, as veterans and as the military personnel and as active duty, you hear, okay, VA loan, I don't have to put a down payment down. However, that's true, but you do still need to have a stack of money set aside so that when you need to pay for earnest money, when you need to pay for an inspection, an appraisal, whatever the case may be, you have that money available and widely available, because although it's zero money down, you do have to have some side money. I remember when we bought this particular property and we were like, okay, we're good. We don't have to put any money down. We were actually stationed in Germany when we purchased this house. So we were stationed in Germany, found this house without even seeing it, which is risky. I don't suggest to do. Although this is a good property, it's just a risk that, whatever. But we purchased the property and we were thinking, okay, well, we have zero money at the end. At closing day, we'll pay $0. And over the course of the time of us purchasing the property, we had to pay $500 here, $800 here, So it does add up, and you want to make sure that you're not stuck in an aha moment like, oh, gotcha, So make sure that you have some money set aside so that you do not get caught up and lose the house, especially during this time in the market where it's things, real estate is flying off the shelf. You want to make sure you have the money to say, okay, here, I'm ready, I'm good to go, and not, oh, can I get the money to you next week? You also want to make sure that your debt to income ratio is below 41%. So if it's at 10 or 20%, of course, the lower the better, but below 41% is vital. So if you look at your finances and you say, well, I know I don't have my debt to income ratio below 41%, what should I do? My biggest suggestion is to actually pay off your debt, pay off some of that debt. So if you have a military star card, if you have any other credit cards, pay those off, because the top two things that impact your credit, which make up about 65%, is on-time payments and also utilization. So how much credit are you utilizing? If your credit limit is $10,000 for a Navy Federal credit card and you're using $9,990, that's a major issue. So my biggest thing with that is to make sure you pay down your credit cards. That's very important. And to add to that whole, debt to income ratio, make sure that you strategize. I can't say this enough. If you know you have a couple of hard inquiries on your credit, but next month you want to purchase a house using your VA loan, well, that may not look good as your credit score will tank because of these inquiries, right? Not tank significantly, depending on how many inquiries you have, but you just want to make sure that you plan it out, right? So if next year is the year that you want to purchase a home, start to clean up your credit right now, start to pay off some debts right now, make sure your payments are on time, make sure you don't have any new inquiries. So you might see this flashy gold American Express credit card and say, I want that card, but it might not be time. Maybe wait, as a suggestion, wait until after you purchase the house, and then you can do as you may, right? And I don't suggest to go too wild because now you have a mortgage. However, I do suggest that you strategize and make sure that everything is in line with your ultimate goal of purchasing a home. All right, step number 2. So the bank has given you a set amount of money that you qualify for, and now it's time to go house shopping. So you go house shopping, and the key here I want to kind of emphasize is try your best. And I know today's market is crazy, but try your best to try to find a wedge deal. What is a wedge deal? Try to find a property within a neighborhood that has high rent or is renting for a high amount, and also that may need some minor cosmetic repairs. This particular house that I'm in, we purchased for $86,000, which is an awesome deal because the neighborhood sell now for about $150,000, right? So it's not significantly expensive in this neighborhood, but the rent amount in this neighborhood is about $1,200. As rent as of today is pretty high. So make sure that you try to find a deal in which, you may need to fix it up a little bit. For us, we had like Apple wallpaper in the kitchen, right? It was little stuff like that okay, we can do that ourselves. We can take the wallpaper off, repaint it, redo the floors, in which we did. It had carpet, it had different type of paint that we didn't want. So we did some, as time has gone on, we've done some repairs to the property and put in some sweat equity. What is sweat equity? Sweat equity is basically doing it yourself to try to save money. I do a lot of YouTube University, trying to figure out how do you take off wallpaper, which is crazy and it's very difficult, but that's a sidebar. So in a nutshell, I want you to understand that try to find a good deal and try not to overpay for a property, because the moment you overpay for a property, now you've limited, not diminished, but limited your ability or your home's ability to grow some equity. Of course, we all know as time goes on, the value of your home will continue to increase over a long span of time, but you want to make sure you get a good deal. I mean, who doesn't want a good deal? So that's very vital, is making sure you find a good deal. And with that, making sure that your mortgage payments are low. It doesn't have to be low, right? You can purchase a property for $300,000 with 5 bedrooms and also utilize that to make money and make passive income and house hack. But for us and our strategy, we wanted to try to find a good deal, and that's what we did. And we just bought at a really good time as well. So I know the market is crazy right now, but really try to be patient and try to find a good deal, because right now we pay about $600 as a mortgage, right? So if we were to move out, which we are going to move out, and I'll explain that later on in my strategies. When we move out, we'll rent this property for $1,200. So you can see the profit in that. You can see, the opportunity in actually owning a dwelling, right? So that's step number 2, is make sure you find a decent deal, so that step number 3 and ongoing steps make a ton of sense to you. Before we continue, please take the time to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It's greatly appreciated. Now back to the video. So step number 3, here we go. So let's use my family as an example, all right? So my family, we purchased this property. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, right? And what we're gonna do within the year, we're building another property. Now, really quick, let me insert this before I forget. With a VA loan, you can use the loan more than once. As long as you have an entitlement and your certificate of eligibility, you can use the same VA loan and purchase multiple properties with it. You can also purchase up to 4 units. You can also purchase a farm, right? So you can do a lot of things with the VA loan. So back to our strategy, we purchased a single family home, and what we're doing is building another property. Our other property will be used in multiple ways. So we didn't necessarily want to do a duplex, although we could have purchased a duplex. We wanted to build a home, a single family home, and in addition to that home, we're building a guest house. So the guest house will be attached to the single family home, and guess what? We're going to Airbnb the guest house, and we're going to live in the actual primary house of our next property. We've been at this property for about 2 years, and that's another thing I want to insert. With the VA loan, you do have an occupancy stipulation. You kind of have to stay there. You have to stay occupied there for about a year, for about 12 months. After that, you can start to rent the property out. So with this particular property, once we move, we'll rent it out, but we have options. And that's what real estate provides you, is options. So we could rent it out. We could do an Airbnb. We could rent each room out, which I think is the strategy we will go with, is renting out each room to a traveling nurse in the particular home. The list goes on. You could do all types of things with real estate. So because we've built equity in the house, or equity was built in the house, and also because, you know, we have a strategy now to continue to collect these homes. So we live in them, we move on, we get another property, we live in that one, we move on. None of these homes are our final destination. That's another thing I want you to keep in mind, is not be so picky that, you know, you don't purchase anything. Right now, we're in a property, I'm 6 foot tall, right? So I'm very tall, my husband is 6'1". So we're a tall family. My daughter is pretty tall as well. We're a tall family. This house is a starter home. It's not our final destination. However, we knew that coming into this property, we knew that we would not be here forever. We knew that we would use this as a stepping stone to collect properties. Now, a lot of people might say, well, you know, Kay, why don't you refinance the property and just, you know, pull the money out, XYZ. That's not our strategy. Our strategy is to utilize, to suck dry the VA loan. And that's exactly what we're trying to do, is to move to another property without a down payment. Now, we do have money stacked, as I mentioned in the first step. We have money stacked, right? But we want to utilize everything that is really owed to my husband and his service. He served 20 years in the Army. And he really dedicated his entire adult life to the Army. So why not take advantage of the VA loan and what it provides all active duty military, or just military personnel in general? You don't have to be active duty to have the VA. But in a nutshell, that's our strategy. It's a good way to collect properties, and we'll continue to do this. As soon as you pay off your property, your VA entitlement is freed up as well. So if we were to pay off this property, we will have even more entitlement to purchase even more properties. So that's kind of a cool thing, an incentive for us to kind of pay it off as soon as possible. So we're really excited about our new property. It's going to be a 3-bedroom, 2-bath on our primary side, and on the guest house side, it's it's kind of like a 1-bedroom, 1-bath. It's a cool spot. We're going to utilize that for a traveling nurse or Airbnb as well, as far as just for, you know, regular people. But we're kind of, you know, trying to figure out how to target a specific audience. And that audience for us is the traveling nurse audience, just because my mom's a traveling nurse. And for the most part, she knows everything ins and outs of how to get tenants in there for the 90 days she may be, you know, placed at a location, and she just knows a lot of information about traveling nurse. I don't, so I'll get a lot of information from her, and yeah, we'll do it like that. But that's my video. I hope this was of value to you. I hope you will also be able to house hack. But more importantly than any of this, you have to act, right? So you heard a lot of information that I presented to you, but you actually have to act on it, and that's the key thing with anything, right? So I hope and pray that you do that, and I'll catch you on the next video. You guys stay blessed. Peace.